Roma have never held an equal position in society, the biggest minority group in Romania. Many see them as thieves, robbers, beggars, and all sorts of things. That's not who I am, or who I ever was. I never begged for money. I always worked as hard as I could. I am Gabriel. 42 years ago, I was born in Bucharest. Now, I am raising my two daughters of 15 and 16 years old here. You go with a lot of prejudice, you know? Romas are like that, like that, like that, like that. So when you see a young Roma who wants to develop himself, you cut his wings, you know? And tell him, you don't do anything. Look what your people are doing. You know? In Romania, only 31.7% of Romani children complete primary school and 9.6% finish secondary school. And this situation strengthens the stereotype of us. There are many reasons why Roma kids may not finish their education. You can look at negative stereotypes they could face in school, segregation, and most importantly, poverty.
Poor families, okay, the poor families have lower chance to finish school because, one, maybe they have to work. They don't have possibility to have what is required at school. They don't have clothes. They don't, because at school you know that we always said that education is free. Wrong. Education is not free. When you go to school, you need lots of stuff. Poor family doesn't allow those stuff, and it's easier for them not to go. Instead of being bullied, they don't have, I don't know what manual or book. So we don't talk about Roma families, we talk about poor families.
Well, the basic reason is the fact that their community pulls them out of school. That's the only reason. Otherwise, when it comes to, finances, I would say that they do have enough money, whatever that means, for their families to send them to school and provide them with a good education. If they come to school and, they follow the drills. But this is not the case, because their community is very, very much, again, traditional, family-oriented, and they do not really believe that school would benefit them later on in life. Okay. Yeah. So I would say we have about, let's say, 50, 60 Roma students, but again, most of them, 90% of them, do not acknowledge themselves as Roma. In fact, that some of them are ashamed to call themselves Roma because of the way people will look down on them since they are poor and not well educated. But it has little to do with the color or with racial prejudices. It has to do with their social status. I keep repeating that because this is actually the benchmark that divides people here.
Romas are not criminals, Romas are not lazy, Romas are going to school, Romas are students, Romas are PhD doctors, and everything else. Because we have that there, and they are not, they are not seen. When I graduated high school, I was willing to go at the university. I was for a semester, and then I was interrupting it because I had to support my family during that period. Because also being a student at university, there were some expenses, and my family couldn't afford that. At almost 36 years old, I went back to university to finish what I started. With the master's Roma studies, I learned more about myself and my ancestors. I wanted to learn more about myself and who I was, things I should have already known.
First, we should talk more about history, about Roma history at school. We should know more about our history at school, we as Roma, but non-Roma also, because we are living together in Romania, so we should know things about ourselves in order for our relation to be better.
It doesn't say anything about, since 2 years now, we have something that it's mentioned about Roma history, about the slavery, about the Holocaust. By the way, Roma were slaves in the Romanian territories for 500 years. Some call us Țigan, at least many people do. They see it as a word for Roma, but that's not what it means. Țigan is what enslaved Roma used to get called. Roma in Romania have a long history of enslavement. For 500 years, my ancestors were held captive. After the end of their enslavement, around 1856, the slave owners got money as a form of compensation, while the Roma were left with nothing. They were cast aside, as quickly became outcasts of society. Starting at a lower point, my ancestors stayed a few steps behind, ever since have not been able to grow as much as others have. To this day, many of us are not on equal footing. I think the education is more important now because they see all around that everyone needs education to get a job for the beginning. So we are at the base of the pyramid, Maslow pyramid, because I'm talking about that. So to evolve to the top of the pyramid, you need to have an education. That's my opinion. With the Roma Education Fund, we try to make this possible for all Roma children, fighting for their equity. With educational programs, we support Roma kids in schools. Here in Bucharest, we have a project for Ukrainian Roma refugees who have fled their country after the Russian invasion. Children can come here before and after school, where they have a lot of educational activities and socialize among themselves.
Brânza Claudia Ivanovna. Cei mai mare e fata, 20 de ani, a să aibă 21, 20. Băiatul 18, ăsta 13. Acum nu face online-ul. Mi-a sunat învățătoarea de la Ucraina și mi-a spus că nu poate, 2 ani ținut de la război. Noi am plecat de acolo și el face online. Și mi-a sunat anul ăsta învățătoarea și a spus că nu poate să ții pe online. Că o dar caz, cum?
Au dat legii ceva?
O spusără acolo că trebuie să înveți să umbli în școală. Nu online, dar să umbli în școală.
Să vină fizic.
Da. Și o spusără să-l scot, să-l descriu din școală. Și așa și-am făcut. Îi place cel mai mult că are cu cine vorbi, are cu cine sta aici. Și că Izaura e aici, dar Izaura asta e mătușa lui. Verișoara mea de-a doilea. Și el după Izaura și se trage încoace, lui îi place să stai când lume mult, să vorbească, să iubește așa ceva.
Da, să socializeze, să vorbească mult.
Da. Da, o leacă mai ușor pe inimă că umblă încoace la Izaura, la voi umblă încoace la școală. Da. și ne mai ușor pe ei. Dar la Ucraina, dacă a dat Dumnezeu să termina războiul, apoi ne primește înapoi la... Da, ne primește.
It is good to see the children enjoy their time here. What I want for my own children, they deserve as well. We are surrounded by people who understand you and your struggles. We are forming a community feeling within REF. Here, I don't have to prove myself. When I work with non-Roma, I had to work twice as hard to show them I was just as good, not better, just good. They could see I was one of the good ones, unlike those other Roma they still saw in a bad way.
Do you think that
There's a wealth of difference here. Like, for instance, there are schools, there's a certain degree of segregation we are witnessing right now in Bucharest, and not just in Bucharest, at the country level as well. So there are schools where most kids come from well-off families, and they explicitly want to go to those schools because they have the best teachers out there, the best facilities, the best services, and they are like almost like gated communities in a sense. And there are schools like that, especially in the downtown areas, and they're very good. They have excellent teachers and excellent results. But then you have schools not like mine. Mine is somewhere in the middle. But there are other schools on the outskirts of the city, and they don't have enough teachers. The facilities are poor. Nobody likes to teach there unless they have to. Kids come from all sorts of social milieus.
I think there are schools in Romania doing a lot for Roma children, and schools that are not doing what they have to do in order for those kids to feel at home at school and for their culture to be valued at school also. But we have good examples in Romania with school where good projects are implemented and where you can see that the Roma kids are valued for what they are and not for what the society expected for them.
Next song.
I'm not saying things haven't got better. Since I was a kid, the situation had improved because now we have internet. But still, a lot of Roma kids are not at the same level. When I look at my kids, I notice the new generation is more open-minded. They are more accepting, and the Roma background of my daughters matter way less than it did in my time. But I wonder, is this the situation for all Roma kids? The Roma community itself is also changing. I believe the power of examples is very great, and there are more positive examples coming along. Recently, we had a group of women from a Roma community and at the countryside who graduated through Second Chance program. They inspire many people in the community, especially girls. They showed them there is an alternative route. Yes, you can follow education and finish school. We try to show the kids as many good examples as possible on Roma Status Project. It was a narrative in the community that Roma girls shouldn't finish school. The male education can go all the way, but the female education, it's quite difficult in the community. You need to convince the community first that the education is good for them to go on and continue to high school and the university, hopefully. It's a difficult situation.
When teaching, the results come every single day and are different depending on the child that you have in front of you. And the moments that they understand the lesson, they have a light in their eyes And there you know that your effort is worth.
We are with them. We are next to them. We are trying to do everything that we can for them, to make them feel that they are not strangers in here. When a kid comes to hug you, you know that you are doing a good job. Regarding the kids, regarding the Roma status, and regarding the inspiring stories, we are doing a good work here, making real progress. I think it will get better soon. Until then, we will continue to fill the gap and give these kids what they need. It's all about understanding each other, about building bridges between each other, not separately.